What is Title IX?
I don't know.
Title IX gave fair and equal opportunity for women to be able to play sports. I have no clue.
All I know about Title IX is that it has to do with women's sports.
The women of our county have always been strong, but that doesn't mean they've had equal rights. Girls now have the same strength that has been passed down for generations. These days, they might not even know about the past inequalities and things those before them fought to give them. In 1972, what we now refer to as Title IX went into effect in public schools. Title IX states, no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. This federal civil rights law wasn't even necessarily geared towards athletics, but it is now the law giving credit for changing women's athletics.
I remember talking about it, but at that point, the big thing was women's equality. But in our mind, my mind anyway, that was more in the workforce.
In our school, Wallace County High School, there were some female athletics in the 30s, and they continued until the mid-50s.
I played on the first team from the time I was in the 7th grade. And there's pictures of that, and there's other pictures of our championship after we started the two-court. You go to the center. You couldn't run the whole court, but you could run to the center.
The athletic opportunities for the girls were limited compared to the boys, but they were still excited to compete. And although there were different rules for the girls, the culture at the time was that the girls more or less than just accepted their limitations. From what we could find, from around 1955 to 1966, WCHS did not have any competitive female sports.
And I learned to play volleyball when I was in the 4th grade at Wallace. Jim Latham taught us. And then I came to Sharon Springs, and I made the volleyball team my freshman, sophomore, and junior year. And my senior year, there was no longer volleyball for the girls. That's when it was ceased. I don't know for sure why. We were supposed to be girls in school, ladies. And sports was not ladylike. Yes, there was very, very upset people. Even parents were upset over it, but there wasn't anything we could do about it. It was, like lots of things are. You don't change them, they're there.
The girls in high school during that time simply remember it not being a big deal. But now that they look back at it, they just realize they didn't know any differently. Instead, they funneled their energy into things like cheerleading, music, and Pep Club.
We had good Pep Clubs. You all had to have uniforms and you cheered, and yeah, Pep Club was really important. And this one here was, she was our mascot. She dressed up in the Wildcat thing, and her and another girl get out there and have a blast, and she was a cheerleader, and it was a huge, big thing. You bet. Yeah.
Once competitive athletics were brought back in the late 60s, the girls still dealt with different rules and didn't have the same opportunities to compete as the boys.
We played 6-on-6, so you had two defensive, 2 offensive, and then 2 rovers. The defense and the offense could not pass the center court line, and so some of us never learned how to dribble.
Or shoot if you're always on defense.
Yeah.
6-on-6 basketball had been played during the 30s in high school, and despite not having any sport for 10 years, that was the type of basketball the girls were taught to play once competitive sports returned. So, as you can imagine, once girls basketball changed to 5-on-5, the girls had to make some pretty big adjustments.
So then, when it changed to 5-on-5, it was a big change. We didn't know how to dribble.
And we all experienced that. So remember Mr. Moss? Our coach had chairs all over the court, and all he did was make us go around those chairs.
Yeah.
For I don't know how many weeks to be good dribblers, just chairs. And I remember he stood over there and watched us go around these chairs for the whole basketball practice. Yeah. But you know what? I think that's why we went to state. That's all we did was shoot and dribble.
Totally scared. It's like a whole new, you just had to relearn everything. So, I liked playing 5-on-5 because then I got to shoot the ball, but I sure didn't like having to dribble. Somebody was always there when I got a rebound because they knew I couldn't dribble. So.
Well, and then the cool thing about it is, so if you were on defense and offense, which I was because I was taller, stop! don't cross the line. You had to hurry and throw it. And then when 5-on-5, it's like, you're stuck. No, you can keep going now. So it was quite a change for us that couldn't cross the line.
So what were the differences in volleyball as well? Because you guys were talking about that.
You could hit it twice.
Each person could hit it twice.
So you had 6 hits on your side.
So it was kind of slow. But
you could set yourself up to spike.
Right. Yeah. We had some awesome hitters. We had some good ones.
I think volleyball was harder for me than basketball because you automatically, you had to hit it somewhere. You couldn't hit it straight up and then hit it again to get control. You had to have control on the next hit. And I remember I struggled with that.
We didn't bump.
Yeah.
That's right. We did not bump.
Bump didn't come in until about 7.
And I don't think there was any overhanded serves either back in the day. Nope.
Everybody.
Underhanded.
Even after that, the girls continued to fight for equality.
I found a picture of 71, a track picture of girls. Yeah. But in 72, there is no track picture, even though I know we had it, because I was a freshman that year and I know we had track.
Right.
But I mean, you talk about differences, just the yearbooks. The year we went to state, I believe we had 1 page for girls basketball. And the boys, who did not go to state, had 3, I think. So, I mean, it's just constant. I mean, and this is kind of jumping ahead, but I went to Fort Hays State University. Well, it wasn't university then, it was college then. But I played basketball and ran track then. And even then we didn't have the equality of the gyms because we had practice gyms and we had the main Coliseum court. And we never practiced on the Coliseum court. We only played there for a game, so we never had a home court advantage there either. So, we were in track, I'm jumping ahead to track here, one year we could not get a coach to take us, and so Mr. Feist did it. Mr. Feist was an excellent track person and probably was a better coach, but he was a principal at the time, and that was not really the thing that they usually did.
Lots of times the girls weren't included in the track meet. We had our own, but then it started, would let us go at the same time as the other ones. And we had like not very good uniforms and
they were the same thing we wore for everything else.
Yeah, and I just remember wearing gray sweats a lot. Yeah, it was, that one was more the guys dominated that one.
And we didn't have very many meets until probably 74, 75 we started having more.
Right.
Learn something.
And we accepted it too because the old school, there was a little bitty gym. That's where we had to practice until we went to state. Then we got uniforms. We were entitled to play on this court because we'd practice in that little bitty thing. And then we have to come out here and play a real game. Oh Lord, we weren't in shape at all. So we moved up, we got a uniform, we even got a warm-up jacket that first year. Woo-hoo! Oh, we got socks to match too.
Sock covers.
You pulled them up over your regular socks. And then we got to be in this gym and they rotated JV, varsity, and girls. So you had early morning practice, you rotated. So that really was
one day in the
noticeable.
old gym, one time in the old gym, one time here, one time, I guess late practice.
Yeah, I remember practicing.
Between the three. Yeah.
And I'm older than him, but I remember practicing in the old gym, plus this one maybe once a week.
If the boys had a game that we didn't,
Right.
that was when it happened.
The girls were eager to compete, and since they had at least had sports in grade school during those years of no high school competitive sports, they came in ahead of some of the surrounding schools.
And the nice thing about it, they were good. But they weren't braggadocious about it. But they were good. I remember in volleyball, I don't know whether the coach was sick and couldn't go or something, but it was a high school girls volleyball, and we were playing up at Goodland, and they really had a good team, and so I wasn't a regular coach, but I was the coach up there. Our girls set it up. I mean, they set it up perfect. And Sandy jumped up and I yelled, "Smoke it, Sandy!" And I mean, she hit it and it bounced off one of the other girls. And every time she went up, I hollered, "Smoke it!" And they'd Yeah, to me, that was one of the most important things that happened. You say, well, it was just sports, but boy, it changes attitudes and it changes relationships. There's nothing teaches people to work together and play together, like, to me, like the team sport did. It finally gave the girls a chance to be involved in athletics and other things as much as the boys. And it made some changes. For instance, the parents got to watch the girls play. The boys weren't the only ones that could brag about winning a game. Now the girls could. And I think it kind of brought it up more equal than it was before.
I think it was great. It gave us a way to go on to college. I had a volleyball scholarship to Colby. So, and if you played...
I played, but at that point Hayes was not giving women scholarships.
Gotcha.
So I just played my freshman year.
But I think that really helps on college, the advances that you can do, and with it being more in college now and even going on professionally.
I think just even sports in general can be a very confidence building thing for you in life. If you can put yourself out in front of people, that's what it is. So,
Well,
and I see those little girls sitting over there getting ready to play in the gym, and I hope they play games, not just sit and talk.
Whether these girls know it or not, Title IX has played a huge role in their educational and athletic careers. It served as a jumping-off point in the fight for equality in women's athletics throughout the nation and changed the world for generations to come.